Welcome back, everybody. Today we are joined by Zeeshan, who is the marketing science partner behind Mutinex and also the founder of ZJ Advisories. Welcome, Zeeshan. Why don't you just start by telling us a little bit about yourself and the things that you guys do?
Thank you, Jordan. Great to be here. It's a very loaded question when you ask me what I actually do, because I've had very different walks of life, but like the way I would explain it this way. My first half of career was all about digital advertising and getting the most for clients out of that online space. Back when digital advertising was the only form of measurement in an otherwise unmeasurable world. More and more, as kind of my world evolved, I realized that there's an entire world in measurement analytics. 5-6 years ago, I joined Foxtel Group in Australia and helped them really develop their data maturity from the ground up, where everything was last touch measurement, all the way down to where market mix modeling became the foundation for all executive decision making. During this time, Mutinex actually had pitched us their product, and at that stage was in infancy. And I liked the product so much that I said, you know what, let me join them as part of that team and help their clients really shift that paradigm on how measurement is done in the modern world. That's one layer of my life. The other layer is the advisory, which is all about really simplifying marketing strategy into ways where you weave together people, goals, and opportunities in a way that doesn't have to be complex, right? Marketing is notoriously made more complex than it needs to. And my job is to help startups and different organizations really cut through that noise. They can get to the outcomes they want.
Amazing. I mean, that's why people like us exist, to help these companies take their amazing product and show potential prospects how the solution solves the massive problem that they have, and often communicating that is half the battle. Totally get that.
That's the main thing, right? It is about, you can build great products, but sometimes the possibilities of that product, you almost have to have an outside view come in and show you how they actually maximize it.
Exactly. So Zeeshan, looking at Mutinex, like, can we dive into that a little bit, and then we can touch on the advisory side of things. What is the solution that you guys provide, and who do you serve?
Really, any business that has a marketing function, this function really is a Mutinex prospect. And the solution we're trying to go to market with is we're a marketing mix measurement partner. And what it means is helping marketing teams and business teams understand how all the different elements of their marketing strategy, their different offers, pricing, promotion, macro factors, all contribute incrementally to their sales. And so where Mutinex really differentiates itself from almost anybody else in market is, previously MMM was something that you had these consultancies offer that would give you results once every 6 months. By the time it's almost too late to make a decision. And that's the thing, because we do things like monthly refreshes, help really unpack different layers of models in a very, very sexy UX, if I would say. It allows customers to solve a few different problems. One of the biggest problems we solve is, how's my marketing performance doing and where should I invest my money next? We have everything from scenario planning tools down to the measurement frameworks. You've got so many different teams within different organizations trying to put together all this host of data. And to supply something like that to anybody to actually get a clean measurement, notoriously difficult. Where Mutinex also excels in that is we try to automate as much of that data collection, ingestion, and playback process that our clients are able to solve the data problem, solve the measurement problem, and then essentially solve the forecasting and AI problem. All of this is then layered with an AI co-pilot. And really, that's the future of Mutinex, is that we are an AI-driven co-pilot that helps you interrogate and ask the pointy end business questions that would take your marketing teams days, if not weeks, to try to answer. And imagine your CMO being able to just ask an AI co-pilot, what can I do? Where should I put my money? What's working for me? What's not working? Get those answers instantly. In a day where speed is really key, that's what we do.
Amazing. What do you think has been the most surprising thing that Mutinex has enabled a partner or yourself to be able to change or notice by having a look at this data? Do you have any stories about that?
A lot of my clients are based in the telco space. We have multiple marketing science partners, all tackling different verticals or some targeting a few different ones. One of the fundamental things we've been able to shift is this. You have some of the biggest decisions on the biggest budgets made by organizations on last touch data. That means things that are naturally lower funnel look amazing. Now, the problem with that kind of thinking is it's a race to the bottom, because then you're essentially keep funneling money into things that are just going to grow your base sales. They're never going to give you incremental. If you think about marketing as a function of anything, It's doing several jobs. One of the things it's doing is getting you in front of new customers, getting those customers to bring in new customers. And what it changes the conversation for our clients is we go from them making decisions on data that's even directionally wrong to data and information that will holistically tackle their business problems and say, you know what, this is where we need to invest. This is what's going to move the needle. It's an education piece. It doesn't happen overnight. It's one thing to give the platform, but the way we do the almost the coaching through growth labs and a few other assets. It's about helping our clients build trust in the model and then make the decisions off of it. And the results have been outstanding for like a lot of our clients. I mean, just in terms of what they do, their agencies use it, they use it, and it no longer becomes disjointed ecosystems. It's one team, one dream.
That sounds amazing. So you touched on AI and sort of how it works within Mutinex. Right now in April 2025, where do you see AI trending? Because it almost seems like every day, like just today I discovered lovable.dev and it coded a website in 2 minutes. I couldn't believe it. Where do you feel like AI is going in the next couple of years, and maybe even specifically with marketing or Mutinex?
It's a very good question because the pace at which AI is moving, it's very similar to what the birth of the internet. When the internet was born all those years ago, what did you have? You had unregulated environment where it was the Wild West, everybody was going at it. Then the pace of acceleration was crazy. AI is taking that, pushing it up to that entire new level. And what it means is this, it becomes that AI is not just a functionality to interrogate or extract insights. It goes into every facet of the product that we build. It goes into the development of the models, the review of the models, the simulations that we run, and even helping source all the different types of information and data sources to make informed decisions. Where I see this going the next 2 years is it's getting faster. It's getting more accessible. There are more data points. The truth is, the product that we have has to constantly evolve, and speed to insight, speed to market is what AI is going to enable. You're going to see in the next 2 years some of the most amazing types of products come to market. Formerly would take marketing teams months to build, are being built in days, as you pretty much gave with the example of Lovable. It's an exciting time, and I don't see AI as something that's out to take people's jobs or put marketers out of work. No, just essentially think about it this way: if you could put campaigns faster to market because you were able to get the right information at the right time, wouldn't you do that? It's better customer experience. At the end of the day, all marketing is about satisfying the customers. And if customers are satisfied, they'll buy your product.
That's really good insight. Moving into some of the juicy questions here, Zeeshan, I'm wondering, working with Mutinex, what do you think have been some of the biggest challenges scaling it to the point where it is now? And even if you look at ZJ Advisory, what are you noticing some of the biggest challenges that people are coming to you with?
I think with Mutinex, it's a bit of a different story because I've joined at a time where the founder's already done the hard yards of initially putting up business, building out the product. But the hardest thing is to get complacent in this market. The truth is the pace of evolution is quick. And as a company, Mutinex, we are tasked with continuously improving and bettering the product and rolling out new feature upgrades and whatnot. In fact, like one of the things that really impressed me about Mutinex is the pace of software development and acceleration. A lot of companies will take months to put out feature requests. We're putting it out in days, if not weeks. Reason for that is because the entire organization is on the single-minded goal that we're going to get better and better and better, because we don't want, besides competition, we don't want any customer to have to wait or play catch up for features. It shouldn't even be a decision. That's one of the things I found remarkable is just the volume of feature upgrades that we push every quarter. The other thing that's kind of impressive to me is the caliber of the people around me. We've got some of the most authorities in the data science and marketing measurement and AI space, all coming in from different backgrounds. So this is not just people. This is former media people, former finance people. All these different elements go into building products by the verticals we build them for. And our clients, that's one of the most common pieces of feedback we get is how easy this is from all the tools in our toolkits to use. If you think about a wheel and spoke type model, or a hub and spoke, type model, that's what it is. Mutinex has become the center of their measurement framework, and everything else then just helps color the commentary. With ZJ Advisory, it was a ground up build. I was at a very unique time in my life with market conditions and things changing. It was a time where I said, I don't want to be at the mercy of anybody but myself to build out an advisory and like have something that's mine. Setting up the business what that entails, how to, sales is probably one of the hardest part of the job. I mean, I won't lie. Like, no matter how good I am at charming and talking to clients, it's equally hard to do the sales bit. But you find out ways, and AI has been an incredible enforcer of that one, where a lot of my pipeline funnel is almost fully automated to help me find and engage prospects, warm them up, so that when I have the conversations, it becomes about what's the problem that you need solved, and I can tell you if I can solve it or not. Mm-hmm. It becomes less about, let me introduce myself, let me do this. Cutting that was one of the, I guess, biggest learnings for me, like how to actually automate my own weaknesses and make it into a positive strength. Types of business. One is something somebody else has built. One is something I've built from the ground up. And I've learned from both about one common thing in them. Pace of acceleration, how much effort you put in will define whether you're successful or not.
I like that. Then how are you acquiring clients, I guess, for both for yourself and Mutinex?
But Mutinex has gotten to the point where we've become such an established authority in this space. We're vocal on everything from LinkedIn forums to different industry events that even our clients love to speak on our behalf. That makes it easier because you've got word of mouth driving new clients. With the advisory, it's going through black book of my old clients, my old employees even, and just getting in a room with them, trying to understand, okay, well, I mean, one of the questions actually in a recent client that I've picked up that was asked of me was, they said, okay, well, what problems can you solve for us? And I said, well, let's flip that. What problems do you have? And then I can help you understand how you should, if they're a problem or not, and what can we do to solve them? It changed the narrative. It went from a pitch conversation to an actual conversation as if I'm a part of their marketing team. That client I was successful in acquiring because I then could go back with, rather than just a bunch of fluff, creds, docs, and whatnot, I could go back with specific solutions for this is where I'm going to drive your value. These are the measurable metrics that I will drive that will gauge my performance. And if I don't, that's my name on there. That makes all the difference. I mean, it's all about trust in any selling process.
100%. I found the same thing on my end as well, as opposed to just like delivering a service and sort of cookie cutter, take it or leave it. It's a lot of people say, okay, what do you do? Like, what do you provide? And I go, well, let's talk about what you need and then see if I can solve those problems, because I can do lots of different things and I don't necessarily need to implement all of them. But the goal should be to grow your revenue. That's the ultimate goal of everybody. Nobody wants leads. Nobody wants like better marketing. They want to take cold traffic and they want to turn them into revenue and they want to grow their business. That's the ultimate goal I found. If you're leading with that, you're obviously, which you are, you've been very successful. Love that insight. With Mutinex, are you guys playing around with any cold outreach, warm outreach, ads, content? It sounded like you're doing a lot of referrals and you have a good reputation in the market. So you're getting inbound. Are you doing any outbound?
Outbound is a huge component of what we do as well. As I said at the very beginning, the pace of acceleration we're chasing, most sane people will not chase it. Mm-hmm. We're not sane. That makes the difference, whether it's be setting up events where we can actually talk about the product and also then get introduced to different sort of organizations in there. That becomes the base of our cold outreach. Now, we don't try to do absolute pure cold outreach, like to people we don't even never have talked to or whatnot. We do try to find at least somebody that we have some sort of prior dealing or some sort of prior connection to as a means to have that initial conversation. But the truth is, you go into any email account today and you look at, some of the best to do it out there in terms of outreach automation is like Instantly.ai or Apollo. What are they doing? You just get these lead lists, you spam a bunch of different people who are getting spammed equally by about thousands of other people as well. You can't cut through noise in that sort of scenario very easily. In fact, I think it's probably one of the most ineffective ways to try to go after customers at that early stage. It's all about FaceTime. It's about getting in front of who you want to talk to. You can go after the brands you want, but you have to get to face to them, because then when you send them an email, they'll listen to it. Otherwise, it's a spam folder every day.
I found the same thing. Obviously, cold outreach works, but now with all of these AI tools, it's become so easy for anybody and their dog to get in. And so the market is so full of AI slop and spam. And like if we check our spam folders, there's just hundreds of these blasted instantly messages for sure. What I found is that if you reach out with value and you reach out with education and you reach out to not to sell them something and cram your offer down their throat, but you reach out genuinely to make a connection with no expectation of return, the response is pretty phenomenal. At least that's what I've found with my clients.
You're absolutely on the right track on that one, Jordan, because the truth is the value is what you can add. And it's not that difficult to add value in this day and age, because the truth is you can get ChatGPT to literally audit entire websites or different sort of campaigns for you, do the deep research, get the extracts out. Then you get to pick and choose actually what's actually valuable, what's just hallucinations by the platform. And that makes it easier because you have a conversation with someone, yet you know more about their business than if you were to try to manually try to get each piece of information.
Totally agree. If you could go back, Zeeshan, and you could start your journey again, what are some things that you might do differently now that you have the gift of hindsight?
Hindsight is always 2020. I think one of the first things I probably would have done is look, I spent probably about 15 years agency side, and it was staying in a comfort zone. I knew the work, I knew what I was doing, and agencies, there are very few that are able to differentiate themselves in market. I would probably have left that agency life a lot earlier and try to either shift to client side to understand end-to-end business and the different problems you have in every part, because one, it opens up insight into, well, what is actually a problem a business is facing truly? Because we always see that marketing lens. This is the thing, but they are answerable to finance teams. They're answerable to procurement teams and everything else. That would have been one shift I would have done earlier. The other thing is I probably would have set up the advisory 10 years ago, because the reality is like I do a lot of late hours. I mean, there's not a, AM or PM time that I've not stayed awake at recently. And what I found in that is when I'm doing it for my own advisory, it's not tiring. I don't feel exhausted. I feel excited. I'm making something that's ultimately going to drive me and my family value. And at the end of the day, what do we do any of this for, right? You don't do jobs to just build great products and things. You do it ultimately to help give your families better lifestyles, to make sure that they're comfortable, that, in the event of anything happening in the world, they're looked after. Yeah. And if you forget that that's what you're doing and don't keep that in mind as the end goal, then it's very easy to get stressed out and basically lose the energy to try to keep up in this world.
100%. What about with Mutinex? Is there anything that you might have done differently?
To be perfectly honest, I've been at Mutinex about 7 months now, and I wouldn't say different per se, as more as I see opportunities for where the product can go next. We've embraced all the right things. We're pushing the right agenda in terms of disrupting the whole paradigm of how measurement is done of media and business performance. But what I would say is it's the same thing about understanding that, businesses aren't just marketing teams. They're more than that. They're business teams and whatnot. And that's really where the next evolution of our product's going, is more solving of entire business outcomes, not just heavily leaned in on just marketing alone. That's one thing I would say I'm excited about the opportunity it affords, because when you do that, based on different stages of where a brand is established or not, it's going to open up a whole new set of client doors for us.
And finally, I guess a question that I always like to ask, because I'm surprised by the answers quite often, is, let's say that you had a magic wand that you could wave over one big problem right now. Let's leave like world peace and all that kind of stuff aside within the business or within your advisory, and you could solve it just like that. What would that big problem be right now, and why?
I think the problem is overcoming hesitation and fear. Right now, look, if you think about the economic climate right now in the past 2 years in particular, you've got organizations in this race to the bottom where it's either heavy price discounts, which lead to poor turns in performance, which in turn lead to a lot of layoffs. There are a lot of senior people in market right now looking for positions, looking for jobs, and every interview process takes about 5 stages, 6 stages, when it really needs to be a 2-stage decision. Now, the reason for that is it's fear. Nobody wants to get it wrong. When a market's good, you can take the risk. You can hire, 10,000 people, 12,000 people like Google or Salesforce would do. But if the market's bad, these same people get laid off almost instantly and it becomes headline news. I would say, look, what my advice to businesses everywhere is, don't look at the short-term problems you're trying to solve. Bring people in, invest in people, in talent, in knowledge, so you can accelerate your business for the next 2-3 years. But when the market does recover, you're primed for it. There's no need to, the businesses that will be the most scared are the ones that I guarantee you in the next 2 to 3 years will be out of market.
That makes a lot of sense, because you make all these decisions out of fear and scarcity, and you very rarely grow when that's the mindset and that's the frame you approach every decision with. I couldn't agree more. Cool, Zeeshan. As we wrap up then here, really appreciate the time today and the insights. If people are listening and they maybe want some advice from ZJ, or they want to check out Mutinex, where can they go? Like, how can they connect?
Absolutely. Look, both of them have websites for, so mutinex.co and zjadvisory.com.au. But I would say, like, I'm happy to share obviously the links to both sites. I would say, look, get in touch, have a conversation. You don't have to be in the mindset to buy right now or decide right now. Let's talk about what is it that you're trying to solve, and let's see how we can help you solve it together.
I'll make sure to leave links in the description if anybody's listening and they want to check it out. Highly recommend everyone go check out what Zeeshan is doing. That's it for now. Thank you very much for your time and insights. Like I said, Zeeshan, thank you very much for watching, and we will see you guys in the next episode.
Thank you, Jordan.